Hello, welcome to a stream. I'm trying a new format today. I've just prepared some notes. I've picked a subject. I've emailed my mailing list, which is a terrifying idea because I'm not really used to telling anyone I've gone live. But I'm trying. I've turned over a new leaf in the new year, and I want to try and be a bit more helpful. So today we're going to talk about how to handle your audio in your live streams. And I've got a few sort of top level headings, and feel free to say hi in chat. I can actually see there's some people. That's fun. So I'm going to talk about, well, let's just start from the top of the list. If anyone has any questions, let's sort of get into it. So the first thing, so I'm going to talk about Ecamm Live. I'm going to talk about OBS. Now, a lot of my, and I'm sorry for the sounds outside. I have a construction site outside my window permanently and no soundproofing. It stopped. Right. And that sort of background noise is actually something that we could probably talk about. So the first thing we could talk about is when you go live, and let's say you might have a hugely complicated. I'll show you my hugely overcomplicated live streaming rig quickly. If we just put me like that, and then no, we don't need to sign in. Sorry, this is this is highly professional. I'm going to find this video I did the other day where I show you basically what my live stream. Trouble is, I'm not going to be on YouTube Premium, so we're going to get ads. So I think I'm actually going to give you a real window instead of this ad window. And of course, we're already having one question with audio on stream, which is I don't know if you can hear what I can hear, but this is what my music streams look like. And if I can find, so there's sort of like a lot of hardware equipment, but I have sort of like fancy sound cards and multi-channel stuff. So, but this is sort of like the sort of final destination in a way. It's like if you've got money to spend and you don't mind experimenting and you've got a bit of experience, then you can sort of try something big like this. But to start with, all you've really got to do is get your OBS and Ecamm set up right. And I just want to check. Yeah. So the first thing, the first problem is what is going out on stream. Sorry, I haven't got me, have I? I need to put a bit of picture in picture. That's going to zoom in. Give me some picture in picture. I want to see my face. Oh right, I have got picture in picture, but it's the wrong camera. Let's try picture in picture and make it. Sorry, I changed my setup before doing this. I hope you'll. No, I'm just going to turn off the view account so that I don't get freaked out if the number goes down. And I just want, right, let's just bring my face back. Oh, I know, if I do this, if I select me, if I come back here. Right, there, I'm picture in picture. Can I have myself in a circle? Yes, I can. Okay, here I am. So this is sort of like the, oh, and yeah, and there's my mouse pointer. So this is the bit of hardware that I use when I'm doing a music stream. But the first thing you really need to worry about is, can you hear what the audience is hearing? And sometimes that's going to be possible, and sometimes it's just not. And of course, this is chaos, isn't it? Look, I'm trying a new format. Bear with me. Hopefully it's okay. Look, first thing is, can the audience hear what you're doing? So if you're, and that's difficult when you're playing music because if you're just playing audio, so I think you can hear that, but I can't. So I can come into Ecamm and just go options, output, audio monitor, and send that to my headphones. And now, so that's not going to. And then in Ecamm Live, I would have to go into preferences and tell it to broadcast system audio. output audio monitor. So I feel like I should be able to hear this, but so this on my system is being sent to Ecamm Live app audio, but I'm not hearing it. And also, while I'm talking, I'm hearing the echo of my voice, so it's just completely impractical. So I'm sort of distracted. It's completely impractical to be monitoring my audio when it's coming through the computer. So whenever you're monitoring your audio through the computer, and I'm gonna lose my mind if I don't turn this off. Whenever you listen to your audio through the computer, there's going to be a delay on it, and it's going to be noticeable, and you're going to hear an echo of your voice back the whole time, which is bad when it's your voice, but it's much worse when you're trying to play music and you're trying to sing in time, because it creates this. So it's like, hello, 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 hello. Everything I do has this delay. And if you're trying to be on the beat of something, it's just not going to happen if you're going through the computer. Even though, especially if you're live streaming, so maybe you could just about turn down your audio latency to some sort of really low millisecond value. You're still dealing, if you're running streaming software and you're doing anything as well as all of your audio equipment, whatever that is, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems with latency, or if you have it too low, it's going to start breaking up. So latency is just how long it takes. Essentially, it's how long it takes the computer to process the audio and convert it and play it back. So 20 milliseconds is the resolution of the human ear. It's like what we can hear. I feel like you can sort of sense 20 milliseconds still, but you can't really hear it. So anything above that is going to be just too long. And sometimes if you've got a camera connected, I've got a camera connected via an R10 Mini over here, but that introduces a sort of 300 millisecond delay. So by the time I've delayed my mic audio and to synchronize it with the camera, there's just no hope of being able to listen back through the computer to what I'm doing. OBS has, I'll show you some OBS stuff because it's sort of awkward to show Ecamm stuff. Although actually, no, I will in Ecamm, I will make it so that it doesn't try to be clever. I want it to so Ecamm sort of hides itself when you're live streaming, but if I can make it so it shows itself, show everything when showing the entire screen, now I should be able to show you Ecamm's windows. So if there's the comments and reactions window. So here's my audio levels in Ecamm, and what there's a setting somewhere for audio. Yeah, so you can set it audio when sharing the screen. You can see I've got this mic delay, but I don't know why it's not showing up the system audio as a source there, which it should be. Maybe, yeah, no, that's an audio device. But OBS, let me just Blackmagic design. Okay, OBS device design. So then, but if you've got OBS up, OBS has it has the synchronization offsets and things in here. But you each channel that you add. So if you had more than one thing going on, like an audio something or other, then is that a thing? I don't know. If you had multiple audio things, and you can have different sync offsets, so you could sort of do the calculus. You could try and figure out the maths for, okay, I want to. So let's say, for example, someone commented today on a video of mine saying, I'm trying to play. I'll try and find the comment actually, because I think it's quite good to see that. It's on shoot. So if we go to shoot, clean camera, okay, find that comment. No, give me my channel, and how to sync mic audio in Ecamm Live is a video here. Now someone said, hey, I just found your channel. I'm trying to stream with Ecamm Live, but I'm running into latency only when singing along to the music being played through system audio. So this is someone that's trying to sing along, I think, to their media player. So they've got sort of iTunes or whatever up, and they're trying to sing along to it. And this is tricky because you if Ecamm's sending the system audio with a different latency, but you've got your mic on delay to make it sync with the video, then the system audio might be coming ahead or behind of your mic audio. So it's just not going to be in sync, and it's going to be hard to sing to because everything's going to be weird. So this is a case where I would usually spin up Audio Hijack and start to think about what I want this mix to be. So this is Audio Hijack. And this, this is a thing that I used the other day just to delay. This is just recording to QuickTime or something where it didn't have a mic delay. So I can just create a sync delay from my microphone, which is this Rode NT, through to Blackhole, which is a virtual system audio thing, which then shows up. If we look at Ecamm, we can receive audio from Blackhole. So this is how we can send something from the microphone indirectly. But what we can do here is actually like add application audio. So okay, I want to add an application, and I want that to be like iTunes or something. Let's say like Apple Music, and then I can then sort of set up a different delay. So, or I could say, okay, I want the application audio, and then I want you to send that to my. Right, the mix of that is quite an awkward tool to use. I want you to send a mix of these two to my headphones, say, and then forward it on with a 300 millisecond delay to my Blackmagic design, my Blackhole thing, and then then Ecamm will take the Blackhole. So then you're sort of synchronizing everything separately. You've sort of got this slightly, so you have to click go. I don't know what's going to happen if I click go here, but I'm going to hear an echo. But you can sort of watch that go live, and now it's saying, okay, what do you want to play? It's sort of pulled up my iTunes, which is what they used to call it, and I can hear myself, and I can hear the music at the same time. What's this? Whatever. And so this, if I had any sophisticated audio needs, whenever I'm doing anything a bit more complicated, I would reach for Audio Hijack. So Audio Hijack is Audio Hijack is, it's not free. It's I don't know. Oh, it's a free download, and the purchase is how much? Yeah, 70 quid. So yeah, $70. So it's not too much. It's a bit, but it's actually like when you need it, you need it. So and then Blackhole is free, but there's other things. I think black holes I've searched for. Blackhole audio. So they also do. The same company does a loopback, which is sort of does the same thing as Blackhole, but it costs. How much does this cost? Yeah, so that costs a fair bit, but for free you can use Blackhole route audio between apps, and that's just a free thing you put in your email, and they give it to you. So the sort of sophisticated, so a sort of computer-only way of doing live music would be that use case, as sort of requested by Hadessah. But there's a couple of gotchas before you go live with any of these tools, and the first thing is, let's bring me back. So I've got something going on. Let's go to 3. So I have gone live more times than I can count, and 20 minutes in, not more times than I can count, but several. And I've been playing away, I've been doing some music, I've been doing some electronic tweaking, and I've been getting into it, and I've been grooving along. And then suddenly I see a comment in my chat which is, can't hear you. And then I realise that people have been coming in and out of my stream for the last 20 minutes, and they just haven't been able to hear anything. And this is the problem of not necessarily being able to hear what you're playing. So like the first thing is, and there are so many things to set up before you go live. You sort of got to get your lights set up and your camera set up and find the right project and update your stream profile and tweet it and email it to everyone, and try and get and think about what you're actually going to do creatively, and make sure that you've gone to the toilet beforehand and you've got some water to hand, and like all of these things. And it can be just like anything can just slip through the cracks. But the trouble is, audio is this invisible thing where you can just miss it. So it's, for that reason, it's obviously very important to have your to just have some sort of audio monitoring. Where is it? Which one's audio? It's like sound levels. Just make sure you can see something, that you're in the habit of being able to see what your audio levels are going to be. Sorry, I'm going to show you. So I can do this from, no, I can't. I can do this from only here. So yeah, like you want this up in Ecamm, or you want to be paying attention to your audio levels in OBS, just to make sure that you don't end up accidentally going live, playing for ages, and just not having any audio. So one way is to just make sure you keep on top of that. The other way is make sure you got some mods that can tell you before you go live. Get some mods that regularly come onto your streams, and then you can they can tell you. And the sort of, I guess my issue was that I was often sort of just going live, not quite sure what I was going to do, and then hoping that people would turn up, which sometimes they did, but it meant that far too often I would have bad sound. Background noise is a problem. I think it's probably worth having a think about. Like just a myth about soundproofing, I think, is that you can just put like egg boxes up, and that will somehow dampen the sound. But that only, so if you seal your windows, and if you can seal your windows, make sure that make sure that your windows are shut properly, then that's going to stop high frequency sounds coming through. That the sort of, or that it's going to stop like the body, a lot of the sound coming through, but there's stuff is just going to come through if it's loud enough. And then the only way to stop that is concrete, is mass. You need enough mass of material to damp. So if you can kind of go further into your house, or you need a space that has an actual solid wall in the way, or you just can't damp that sound. And like low frequency sound is always going to get through. The high frequency you can filter a little bit with material, but yeah, egg boxes are just going to stop it. This stuff doesn't stop sound. All it does is stops me sounding like echoey. It just kind of dampens the sound. So if you need a space, if you want to be on mic and you don't want background noises like I've got, then that's actually really hard to do. That's kind of an expensive proposition. And then it sort of starts coming down to equipment after this, like which gear are you going to get. But the next level of no one can hear you is you're too quiet. And with music, that can be a thing. If you're playing on your own and you're mixing it yourself, and again, you can't hear what it is, you could be too quiet. And that's where you might try a compressor. And actually, OBS, for example, OBS does have a built-in compressor. Like, well, you could do it in Audio Hijack. Audio Hijack has, you can use, you can use your like big plugins, but so I could use what compressors have I got here? I don't know. I could use like Ozone and pump everything through that, I think. But let me see if there's can I filter this list? Ozone vintage compressor, we could see if that works. So you could maybe like put a compressor on your mix. So let's see if this actually works with yeah, I think it might. Yeah, it's okay, so this is what a compressor looks like. So if we turn this on, see what happens. So this is what a compressor looks like. If I make that higher, then will this compressor fill the screen? Yeah. So, and if I just move myself out of the way a little bit, or put myself up here. So here's a compressor. So it's monitoring my audio levels. So if we're down in the low ends, so we can sort of sculpt our sound a little bit. I don't think, well, why don't I, okay, when I get rid of that, the sync delay, and actually send you the audio. This is really risky, but I can skip to Blackhole. Can you still hear me? Yeah. Trouble is I can't. Oh no, I can kind of hear it because it's going through my rodent, as we call it. Okay, let's see how this sounds. I can sort of hear myself. So if we come into here, we click on the compressor. So these are my levels, and I can tweak. I can sort of add in some low, take out some low. But what the compressor does is, you see the level. It's sort of like sometimes it's above, sometimes it's below. But what compression does is like, okay, make sure everything above that line gets pulled down. So if we're loud, then that's now going to get pulled. That's how much, that up there is showing you how much it's being reduced by. And the sort of way that behaves, we can make that feel more like severe by pushing this ratio up. So I probably sound really intense right now because I'm sort of over compressed. But we can also change the attack type, but usually with voice, like attack and release they're sort of more musical controls, but generally for audio you sort of want a little bit of so this will sort of ramp in the effect and ramp it out as you talk, which sort of works better. But does this have a yeah, so here you can see how it's behaving over time. So every time I get a little bit louder, you can see it's attenuating the audio, so it's making it quieter as it goes. So that means if you're playing music, but then what you can do is just bring that level up. So what you're doing now, and usually there'll be, in fact, we can have auto gain here, and that will just like match the expected. Is that on or off? Yeah, that will just bring up the level to. I hope this isn't just unlistenable, but that will just bring up the level to sort of where you want it to be loud enough. But because what you're really trying to avoid when you're putting audio through a computer is digital clipping. You want to be coming in quiet, because if you come in loud, then it just sounds disgusting. It's this digital hard flat clipping that won't sound good. It will just sound it sounds digital and harsh, and there's nothing nice about it. So you're sort of at all costs, you're trying to avoid your audio peaking. So which is if this goes into the red here, you might be clipping. If in Ecamm, if this goes into the red, then you might be clipping. And you can see when I'm using, if I go loud, like it's always kind of staying within that range. But if we come back to the microphone, if we go loud, did you hear how that distorted when we went super loud? A doctor's waiting room. Hi, Paul. How are you doing? Welcome. I've just got a little. Let's put Paul up on. No, how do we do that? I don't know. Does that? I thought you could add to broadcast. There, look at that. Remove from broadcast. Hi, Paul. You're in a doctor's waiting room. I hope everything's okay. I'm doing my best to do like an informational live stream with like I've got a list of things to talk about, because why not? And plus I'm $9 away from getting my first Twitch payout. So if anyone wants to sub, yay! Right. Where are we? So that's how compression works. And that if you're not able to keep an eye on your audio and you can't really hear what it sounds like properly, then you can sort of jam it through a compressor. But there is the danger of doing that, like, is that you're gonna destroy the music if you overcompress it too much. And like any musician, you probably know, like, don't overcompress it, and if I find something to play in my music library, sorry, if we come back to monitoring Black again, and I play something from my music, where is that window? Oh, maybe it's just like made a mini window. Okay, here we go. So music, what have we got? I hate my iTunes library is this mess of like mixes of my old songs. Like it's there's nothing in it. So here's my album. So if we had you know, I guess I always play this one. Right, we should probably turn off the compression. Right, okay, so this is off. Oh no, yeah, I should put myself. I tell you what, I've done wrong. Yeah. Okay, compression. Discoveries will be made. So if we start over-compressing this, and see, we believe it can be seen from the outside. But I've been thinking too long. It's time to go outside. But I just wanna go click. Here we are now. Coming in and out. So that's when it starts sounding like you overcompress it. So here we are now. You're trying to find a sweet spot. A sort of safety zone. So this isn't going to destroy all. This isn't going to stop every problem, but it's going to help you be a little bit safer with your live audio. But I actually wouldn't recommend using. Well, I'm just going to show you. So you don't need some expensive, fancy, like Ozone's not cheap. Like Audio Hijack isn't free. Like none of these things are free necessarily, but. OBS actually does, you know, if at a stretch, so I'm like never looking at the camera. At a stretch, you can use, if you select audio, an audio channel, wait, let me move myself down. So if we select an audio channel, there's actually filters, it calls them in OBS, and that actually lets you put effects. Oh, you can't see that. That lets you put like audio effects on things. Oh, sorry, Stu. Welcome. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was loud. I see. Thank you. But yeah, OBS actually does have a compressor built into it. So I have used this, like just if I just really I didn't want to set up anything else. This is workable. This is fine. But again, if you want to listen to what it sounds like, you're going to have to monitor OBS. You're going to hear the delay. You're going to be playing something. Maybe you want to monitor when you're playing music the most direct audio as you possibly can. Like you don't want there to be any delay on that, just because it's going to put you off musically. So doing stuff through OBS, doing stuff through Audio Hijack, it's not really ideal. So that's why I use hardware compressors when I go live. And my favorite, I have to say, is the RNLA. The really nice leveling amplifier. And I bought one of these in Berlin, and I actually sold it to Graham Dunning of Mechanical Techno fame. So that's a bit disappointing that I don't have that anymore, but at least it's gone to a good... you may have seen the video we produced. Where is it? I produced this video with him. Sorry, this is a pointless detour, but you may have seen where his main video is not like... His like huge video is not even showing up. If we go to my channel, we'll see it. Sorry, I just want to tell you. So I don't know if you ever saw this, but Graham Dunning Mechanical Techno demonstration. We did this. We did a video here, but so he's using it as part of his rig now. But I love this bit of hardware. I've got a reverb affiliate thing if you do it, but yeah, let's have a look. So this is a hardware leveling. So you can see there's that threshold, ratio, attack, release, gain. Same thing. Is it? Can we see the back? Yeah, and then the back will have in and out, left and right. We're not going to talk about sidechain, but we're just going to talk about the in and out. But then how do you integrate that into your setup? Well, the way I really like doing it is what are we looking for? Get a nice mixer. I use Z10FX, and I've actually bought 2 of these over the years, and I bloody love it. But really, like, any Allen and Heath mixer comes highly recommended. Don't buy like some Behringer or even like Mackie. I'm not super keen on. But Allen and Heath, get a nice Allen and Heath mixer. And what this gives you is what you can then do. This has. Wait, I'm gonna look down at the real one just to make sure. Yeah. So it's got 2. Can we get this bigger? Can I see this more clearly? You see here, main mix, insert left, insert right. So this lets you, with a special cable, with just like a Y jack cable, which is like a stereo to 2 monos, essentially. You plug in your stereo into that, and then you plug in one end of it into the in and the other end into the out. So for the left channel, in out on one cable through the insert, and then the same with the other side. And now that is going to push your entire mix. So you're going to have your, you're going to then be able to monitor what's coming out. You can monitor your computer through this thing. It's got a USB connection. Strange what size it's deciding to be. You can monitor what you're doing through a mixer like this, through the headphones. You can play back your computer. If you plug it in over USB, it comes into this channel, and you can monitor that. You can plug your microphone in here. You can plug in a keyboard. You can plug in a couple of other things, and you're going to be able to hear what's really happening. And then if you use those insert mix connections, you can also compress the master output and sort of have a little bit more safety on the mix and be able to hear it, and there's no latency. And this will just show up in OBS, and the way that shows up in OBS or Ecamm is as it shows up as a USB audio codec, which is a charmingly I guess they never changed the default name. But this is my favorite thing, and it's a nice sound, and you've also got like effects. So I usually put a reverb on that. I'm so sorry for this beeping. I usually put a reverb effect on here, and then I can just turn the yellow knob on any channel and just give myself some echo and just some reverb, and it just kind of brings everything to life. So I absolutely love this, and this is what I would recommend if you're remotely serious about playing music live on stream. Grab a compressor. Like, it doesn't have to be this one, but just something to just let you control the audio a bit and make sure you're not too quiet, and make sure it's never going to peak. There's a sort of difference between. So what I'm really talking about is a limiter, sorry, I've disappeared, but I disappear every half hour. I do need to change my camera. If you slam up the ratio and like make the attack and release like nothing, there's basically a limiter now. So a limiter just kind of like chops off the top whenever it gets over a certain level. A compressor just tries to be a bit more subtle about it. Something like this, I would just generally have the I would have like the ratio slammed up and have the level threshold where I want it, and then just kind of tweak the threshold to somewhere that's sort of not going to be too crazy, but just make sure it's always going to be pulling it up enough. And you've got the gain as well. You've got to watch that gain, obviously, because you're going to be like, it's easy to go above 0 dB and then your mix is bad. But in theory, if you see that it's not peaking in OBS and you're pushing the levels on the external compressor, then you're not going to have too many problems with your audio. Like, you know, you're an hour in, you're not going to be like peaking things out and hurting people's ears. And then, so I'm just going to show you one more thing. How long have we been going? 40 minutes. That's more than long enough, isn't it? This is the first time I'm trying this. I've got a little bullet point checklist. Any questions, by the way? Any thoughts? Any ideas? Like, please just like jump in. But the last thing I'm going to show you is, I decided that I wanted to be able to play. Oh, it's embarrassing. Zoom L20R. Right. Oops. I decided that I wanted to be able to play, like mix a lot of audio and record it without having to plug my computer in. So I got this Zoom L, and also I had this huge Mackie mixer. Mackie mixer. Let's just, sorry, Mackie. I had this huge Mackie mixer, which one is it? Like this one, I think. Which was just taking up a lot of space on my surfaces, and you couldn't put anything on top of it, and it was actually sort of quite stressful being in a room with it when you're trying to focus on something and be clear. So I ended up getting rid of that and instead getting a rack mount. What's my internal Mac system audio routing? I use wait, let me put the question on screen just to answer that. So yeah, I use Blackhole. Which is the free one. Although a gotcha on the on Blackhole is the 2-channel sometimes. So there's Blackhole 16 channel and Blackhole 2 channel, and I found I don't know if it was a version of Mac OS, but the 2 channel doesn't really work anymore now for me. So I use this 16 channel one, which is sort of interesting. Like if we see here, we can actually select. Wait. We look at this, we can actually select which of the 16 channels we want it to plug into. So, which is sort of overkill. But I noticed, like, when I sent Blackhole through into QuickTime, it actually records all 16 audio channels, whether or not you're sending to anything. So when you drag that into Final Cut Pro and look at it, suddenly you expand the audio and it's got 16 audio channels that you have to delete. So that's just like a little gotcha. You know, if you are doing some routing into QuickTime recording via Blackhole, it will be recording all the channels. I haven't checked if the 2-channel one works recently, but it's installed as a separate app. If you're a proper nerd and you have Homebrew installed, you can actually do brew install Blackhole, and that's how I like to do it, rather than going to the website. And then you have to put your email in either. So, which obviously I have at some point. So Audio Hijack is for setting up a signal chain, interconnecting between different applications, and so this gives you a sort of set of sources, outputs, but it doesn't like expose. Do you know what? I'm suddenly doubting myself. Maybe it does. So it doesn't actually expose a virtual audio interface. It just it lets you sort of wire up different system audio things and create a sort of rig. So I think it's almost designed for, like, there's a recorder and a live stream thing. So you can stream to an RNT. God, I shouldn't drag that in. You can stream to an RNTP server, or you can a radio server, or you can record it, or you can. Sorry, I'm in front of it. Or you can. And then you can sort of insert like effects and filters and pans and volumes and declick and denoise and all these little time shift things. So if you needed to like delay your audio or just like do something a bit more certainly if you're using Ecamm, I think, and you're doing anything remotely musical, then you're probably going to need this one way or another. If either, because sometimes if you've got a fancy sound card, Ecamm won't necessarily. You might be using channels 50. So what I'm going to talk about next is it's using channels 15 and 16 for the master out, but there's no way within Ecamm to select which channels are the master out of my mix. So I end up like having to fire up Audio Hijack, which does show me all of the inputs and outputs of my device, and then like pipe that through into Blackhole, and then Blackhole channels 1 and 2 are by default they're detected by by Ecamm. So yeah, but it also gets, you've got metering and you've got all of your audio unit effects. So anything that you've got on your computer, you can sort of plug some audio through. So yeah, it's just a sort of bit of a sort of Swiss Army knife for audio sort of routing. But yeah, so the last thing I sold my mixer on Reverb, and affiliate link below maybe. If you do want to search for any of this stuff. I have sold so much stuff on Reverb, and I actually really love it. It's nice to just be able to sell music gear, and I do have an affiliate link, but I also have made I sold like $7,000 worth of music gear just by getting myself together and just putting it on here and not having to worry too much, because you just take some pictures of it, upload it, just say what it is, and it's already got the description populated, and people can see what the normal price is for it, and it's just sort of music oriented music sales. So if you wanted a RNLA, you could have a look and see if someone's got one. And also like reuse instead of buying new versions. I just think there's an environmental benefit to like not always buying new gear, like when you can get like pristine audio gear secondhand prices from like a thing like this. So even if it's might not be as cheap as eBay, but like it's a much nicer experience for buyers and sellers, I think. But anyway, so this is where I would go, affiliate link. I feel like I'm doing a sponsored link. I kind of am, I suppose, if anyone ever uses this, because I'm going to put this up on YouTube. Anyway, what did I get? I got a Zoom L20R. I was like, I need something that's rack mount, that can record multi-track recordings onto an SD card, works as an audio interface. So this is, that's not a very good picture, is it? Let's go Zoom L20R. There is like a hardware mixer version, but this is what I use for, I don't want to review, I just want the thing. This is what I use for everything. So this is like my favorite. Well, like it's not without its problems, I'll be honest. But let me just show you what it is first. So we've got multiple channels of audio, and look, each one has a compressor. So we can compress each audio channel that's coming in. And so if you want to be careful about not squashing some stuff, you can, but other stuff you can squash more. Something's got a low level of, something's more dynamic. You've got like a compressor control right on the front and a gain control right in the front. The pad just lets you kind of like louder signals, you can pad them down. This is a bit weird. Like it's actually designed for bands to be able to have their own, each member of the band has their own individual monitor, and so A is like the guitarist and B is the singer, and then they've got their different mixes. So that's not something I really use or have found a sort of intuitive way to make the use of. But yeah, like here's the back. It's got all these inputs, and then it's got but it has got these separate monitor outs. So in theory, you can like route your effects and do all sorts of stuff. Well, which I do sometimes do. But I have this in my rack with a patch bay underneath it, so I can patch things in. And then that just I can plug that into the computer when I go live and just get the master mix. And if you're like, but the only problem is that it doesn't really work unless you use it, L20R app. It doesn't work without an iPad app. So if you ever want to be able to, if you want to go like, oh, I'm sort of like having a good time jamming, and you suddenly go, I want to record this, but I want a new project. When you do a new project, it resets the. Can I make these screenshots bigger? Let's just, I guess, just open in a new tab. No, zoom. Let's just zoom. So here's what it looks like. There's this iPad app, but if you want to, so there's the gain control, which affects the sort of general input, but you can't actually control the mix, and you can't enable channels without going into the iPad app. And I haven't found a way to sort of arm the channels I want to record without having to grab the iPad, Bluetooth connect it, and then like turn them on, which can be really fiddly and like awkward to do on the little tiny touch screen. but I did notice that it uses it's all the control is done over Bluetooth but via MIDI system commands. So I am considering reverse engineering whatever protocol they use for the mixer and making my own app that can connect to it, and then I can just go, give me this scene, and just always default, you know, so I can just press one button at least. But that is probably me writing code when I shouldn't, and I probably do not need that level of efficiency in my life, but it's, you know, it's just the way my brain's wired sometimes. But anyway, you need this app, but it does have some effects and things as well, so which is always nice when you're sort of live streaming and you just want to do something. So that's like that's kind of my I sort of want to say it's the best thing I've found so far, is this Zoom L20R or Zoom L20 for doing what I'm doing. If anyone's seen anything that works better, that you can record on multi-track recordings on, works as an audio interface, has a small footprint, and has a little bit more control than the Zoom, then, you know, I'd love to hear about it. But this is the best thing I've found for playing live music. One other thing I will mention, actually, playing music live, and I know Paul is so some, like, for ages I would, let's see if I can find some older performances. I'll just put up for reference, I'll put like put a video up. If I can go back in time, oh god, I'm going to be going back very far in time if I'm not. Sorry, I'm just browsing my let's see, let's just browsing my old videos, seeing how far back we can go to find when I first started live streaming. Yeah, like here's one of my first streams. Well, not one of my first, but this is before I even got a nice wall. But something I would do, I hope, I'm just going to mute it because I don't know if you can hear it. Look at that. Michael in Berlin in a flat on his own, wanting to make sure everyone knows that I am not a DJ. This is live. I like the microphone, but if you're busy with your hands, it's very hard to keep a consistent distance from that microphone, and so your voice can be getting loud and quiet drastically as you're playing. And so one last thing, I finally sort of gave in and just got myself a headset like mic thing, and I looked for the best thing I could find, which was let me just go and see what the model is again, just to remind myself. I got a Sennheiser HMD 26. Sennheiser HMD 26. Sennheiser HMD 26. Let's have a look. Hey, Will Sharky. Oh yeah. Well, I'll hold on a sec. So I got this thing because I wanted, if I kind of recorded something, I wanted the audio to be usable. This was the best one I could find, but I'll be honest, it still sounds a bit like I'm commentating a racing track sometimes. So, hey, William. Hi. Let's just add William's question. Right. He says, do boutique mic pre-converters, etc. matter to you? Or are you happy to connect directly to the Zoom L20? Oh, that's actually, there's another question that's reminding me of. I would say I feel like I've never felt rich enough to start getting nice converters, but I'm starting to wish I did have them. You know, the Zoom L20Rs, they're fine. It sounds good, I think, but actually I think the bottleneck is probably this microphone. And while I do have, you know, a pretty decent microphone that I can use. Solid tube. So I've got this microphone that, what? KG. I've got this microphone that I got sort of so basically, I used to rent this studio in Clerkenwell. It was a decent studio. They'd done some like, so I had a day a week in that studio, and they had like the whatever it is, like the $8,000 mic and a few different microphones, and I used the different ones. I actually ended up like liking this one for my voice the best, and then in the end, like the studio got closed down, so the stuff was being sold off. So I bought this for like 400 quid, I think, at the time. And this is like my vocal mic, and it comes with a sort of box kind of thing. But this is like the best sound I can get for my voice. But it sort of suffers from that, like moving backwards and forwards if I'm playing live. If I want to go over to the electronics, then it's no good. So, but you know, as much as I'd love like Neve preamps, and I saw them on I saw an email today actually. Wait, hold on. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find this email. I get these emails now because I was renting studios. MJQ. Let me show you this. Like, I saw they had like a set of Neves, 20k for a. It's just 20k for a rack of 6. It's like mic preamps. They are mic preamps, aren't they? I think I'm not crazy, right? These are mic preamps. Or are they channels? Anyway, whatever they are. I know there's this stuff, but it's like, how good do I really think I am at singing? Is it really worth it? Because at a certain point, like the room and the performer become the bottleneck. One day, maybe I will feel like my voice is so crisp and beautiful that I must have it through the finest Neve preamp and the finest of... Sorry. The finest of all things. Sorry, I'm getting used to my keyboard shortcuts. But, you know, I'm not Freddie Mercury over here. I don't think I can really say I need fancy preamps. But I don't know, like, what do you think, William? Like, is that something you care about? I would care about it. I can't really afford to care about it. Is the long and short of that answer. Yeah, so yeah, William says, yeah, freedom of movement is going to elicit a better performance, which trumps audio quality, in my opinion. There's a bit of a statue effect when you're up against a mic stand. And I think this is the thing with, I mean, if I'm doing a solo performance on stream, I'm kind of doing everything, and I actually think I think I've always had this idea that I can sing and do everything else, and lead singers are just lazy, but actually it does take a lot of focus to deliver a good vocal performance, and if you're trying to do a load of other things. So the other secret weapon in my arsenal these days, rather than a fancy preamp, I do have a Voicelive rack. So this is the other secret. It's like anything that I can... Sorry, anything that I can do to sort of improve my audio performance, and I've tried loads of different hardware vocal processors, but I've landed on this one just as something that lets me just automatically kind of like fixes your tone and pitch a little bit if you tap those buttons. It's got some fun vocal effects as well, which I do enjoy using, and you can edit the settings. So I'm more likely to pipe my voice through a vocal processor that can sort of stick a bit of auto-tune, a bit of echo, do some interesting stuff like some stutter repeats, than have some fancy stop making me agree to things. It's not even accepting my agreement and disappearing. I'm more likely to do this just because I'd like... Just because I'm so busy with all of the ins and outs of the electronics and the live stream and the chat and this and that expecting to be able to do an amazing vocal performance without a little bit of help is probably asking a bit too much. But I also love, just while we're recommending things, Chaos Pad Quad. This is my favourite Chaos Pad because... This is my favourite Chaos Pad because... Why is this picture like Why is this like that? Why have they cropped it? You've just got a button for each. You've got four different like channels, I guess, four different effects, and you can just select which one on each thing. And yeah, because all the other Chaos pads, you've got like tweak this little tiny knob and know what number each effect is, which is boring. Whereas this you can see, and you can use the pad to like do stutter effects and things. So this is my favorite thing for that. Paul uses, as we discussed, if you go to squares.tv/DJ Dakeyne, in our interview, Paul uses a Shure SM58 as a DJ live mic. Oh, okay, so an Aston Origin for recording vocalists and an old SEX1 for personal spoken. Okay, cool. So I guess this is some really some nice stuff. So Aston Origin looks like, okay, right, and then what is it? SEX1. All right, so Studio Electronics. SEX1. That does like just remind me of yet another subject of conversation here, which is I am currently talking through a USB mic with an octopus on the top of it. I use Rode NT USB. What are the reasons for this? William says, love these recommendations. I do find the headphone mic a bit dorky, but I'm starting to see the zen of it. I resisted it for so long, but I just had to give in the end and say, look, the sound is more important than me looking cheesy. And I did have quite a cheap one. What was it? Face mic Amazon. I don't know what. I had one of these. Like a Rode. Well, it wasn't a Rode. It was like a 20 quid version, and I got the adapter for it, and it works all right, but it electrocutes you. Like I kept getting these little electric shots in my face. So but yeah, but going back to the USB microphones. Now, if you're playing music, you just forget it. Like you can't use the USB mic because you can't plug it into your mixer. But I use the USB mic I bought it because the person I podcast with, she got one. That was the one we found, and she got that one. And we do the podcast remotely. And I just ended up... Well, I was using my, what's it called? I was using my solid tube and my big mixer. But in the end, I was like, I just need to get the same mic as Ivanka. So this is the podcast, by the way, grandpodcast.com. I just ended up... How's the podcast? Not great. I just ended up getting the same mic as her so that I could help troubleshoot problems remotely. And just so that we sort of the tones matched in both microphones. And so I didn't have to, like, if we went away, because sometimes I stay in Milan for a bit with my partner's parents, so I didn't want to carry, like, a mixer and a preamp, and I don't know, whatever, there's a box that comes with the solid tube, so I needed something a bit more portable, portable. So I got this, but obviously if you're playing music, a USB mic is no good if you want to, plug it through a proper mixer, and as soon as it's digital, you've got that delay, that echo problem, so it's just not practical, really, for music stuff. But obviously, for everything else, it's very convenient, and I just have it on a stand on my desk. Which I recently got a clippy stand. It used to be on this monstrosity. My mic used to live on this thing, which is just the least. It's got this heavy bass, and it's this floppy thing. Yeah, I mean, the electric shocks are real, right? Like, you got to, is it, okay, something about low impedance and no filtering on cheap integrated sound cards. It's so stupid because you're like, because it starts to, like, the first time you're like whatever, but then it starts to get to you. Like the electric shocks start getting to you, and you start getting bummed out by the whole thing. So yeah, I just wanted to get something a little bit more a little bit better. Let's unless there's any other sort of subjects of conversation anyone can think of. Oh, here's I do want to like cover another thing. If I have a Mac Mini, partly on DJ Dakeyne's sort of prompting, I sort of thought, yeah, I think that's the way to do it rather than getting like a stream whatever Elgato whatever thing. So I've got a Mac Mini for actually that's what I used to do all my iOS development now, because I can't build on this laptop because I can't upgrade the OS because it melts. That was a sidetrack. But yeah, I use this Mac Mini, which is an M1 Mac Mini, for live streaming, but getting audio into it, it doesn't, the driver, I haven't checked in the last few weeks actually, but the driver for the Zoom L20 doesn't let you select the audio channels, and doesn't let me select, so you can switch the operation modes of the Zoom L20 so that it's either channels 1 and 2 or channels 19 and 20 for the master mix. I want it on 1 and 2, but I can't change the setting on it because the driver isn't supported on the latest Mac OS, because Zoom aren't really a software company. They're not really like on top of their Mac and iOS apps, which means that I can't, it's a bit of a pain to get the, I say that, well, actually, the way I work around that on the Mac Mini, like, well, if I plug it into my laptop, which does have supported drivers, I can just switch the operation mode. On the Mac Mini, the only way to get the right audio channels is to use Audio Hijack and sort of select the channels. Thankfully, the Audio Hijack people are proper Mac OS developers, so they keep their stuff up to date. But you gotta watch out for that, especially M1. I mean, it'll be getting better, but you gotta watch out for those OS updates and those hardware updates, because you might have a really good thing with your sound card, and it might just stop working in a either a later operating system or later hardware. You might have problems, and certainly you'll probably end up with like 16 intermediate dongles in order to collect. I used to have a Fireface, and that at a certain point I required like 2-3 maybe adapters to plug it into my laptop, because it was the old style Firewire, had to be converted to Thunderbolt, blah blah blah. So the more professional the sound quality, the worse the like Mac, the worse the computer experience sometimes. So it's this weird trade-off. So what's some of the ones that the sensible manufacturers will use, I forget what it's called, like the default, the USB drivers that just let it plug into an iPhone, like that. Basically I think this got standardized around like the iOS accessories. What's it called? Sorry, let me just go and look at my thing and just remind myself. It is called class compliant mode. So if something can operate in class compliant mode, then you should be all right. And actually the Zoom L20 has got a class compliant mode, but it's just they've routed it wrong, so it's no good for me. But the more, if it's class compliant, then it's going to sort of work by default, but it probably has less controls because it doesn't have a custom driver. Sorry, I've disappeared because my camera is running Magic Lantern. I've really just got to start using Shoot for these live streams so I don't lose the connection halfway through every time. Yeah, so just watch out for all that stuff, because you might get it working, but then you might be trapped by your expensive hardware. Because the Fireface cost like, I think that was like £1,000 hardware, audio interface, and then it just became less and less practical as to plug into future devices. But yeah, so I think we can probably call it a day for now, unless anyone has got any more subjects. I've been a bit scared to see how many people's watching. Yeah, it's a pretty quiet chat. I'm not going to worry too much about it because I'll stick this video up on YouTube. If you are interested in this sort of chat, especially around live streaming, come to squares.tv. I have got Shoot Clean Camera Feed, which I'll put a little doohickey on YouTube where there's a channel for Shoot. I've got this delay calculator for OBS and Ecamm Live that I released last week, which just lets you clap and like figure out. Oh shit! Sorry. I wasn't showing you my desktop. Let's start again. Squares TV. That's what Squares TV looked like. It's tools for streamers and then interviews and things. So you will see some different interviews with some various people. I'm hoping to have more soon, but I need to get into record them live instead of editing them because this took me so long to edit. But yeah, so I've got tools on there. So Shoot is a iPhone app that I've got that you can plug into OBS or Ecamm. I made this delay calculator, which you can use with OBS or Ecamm Live. You just clap and it can tell you how many frames by just looking. You just tell it where the clap is visually, and it can just tell you how many frames. Today, if you're interested in editing, I just released another tool which converts a Final Draft Pro script into a Final Cut Pro timeline. So this is what I'm excited about. So you write your script in an industry standard or free alternative, and you can import that into Final Cut, and it will become a timeline that you can see captions and you can drop your stuff into. So that's free, and you can just sign up to Squares TV. And I'm trying lots more experiments on here, and if people really love one of the things, then I'll make it shiny. Thanks, William. William says, I believe this was super use. Imagine it helping many YouTube if it gets listed properly in the search. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope that happens. But for today, let's remind ourselves what the keyboard... I've got different keyboard shortcuts for the podcast as I have for this setup, so I need to make them the same so that I can get that muscle memory going. So much of this is muscle memory. I've got more videos, stuff, Squares TV. That's it for today. I'm going to say goodbye and have a good rest of your week, live stream watchers, and feel free to, do some engagement stuff in the chat, YouTube people. I'll see you soon. I'm going to play my Good to Hear ident. Bye!